So I just started reading the book of Revelation this morning, and this is where John has been exiled to Patmos, and he can't leave this island. Although I do believe he's got free reign to walk around the island. But verse 9 says, "I, John, your brother and partner in the tribulation and the kingdom and the patient endurance that are in Jesus, was on the island called Patmos on account of the word of God and the testimony of Jesus." So I'll get back to that in a moment, but it got me to thinking, does Patmos still exist? And so I looked it up, and it's an island in Greece. And John was exiled to this cave, and you can look on the internet. I'm looking at it right now, but there's this cave where uh, they've put this like kind of sort of shrine, I guess, for lack of a better term, um, and it's beautiful, but it's so awesome that there's people out there that get to see this type of stuff on a daily basis, just like Jerusalem. But there's a place of worship there that you can go and see where the baby Jesus was born at. And you can go here to this cave and you can see where John was exiled to and where he lived at, and worship there as well. And I just think that it's so awesome that the Bible, um, it's true, guys. It's a historical document. This isn't just something that man created so that we can have something to make us feel better. A buddy of mine, he's not a believer. He's a YouTuber, and he said that somebody came knocking on his door the other day, and he just called them religious people. But he said that these people came knocking on his door, and he had a discussion with them about the Bible, and um, he he said that he tried to hear their side of things, and he also tried to give his interpretation of why he doesn't need the Bible and why he doesn't need someone to tell him about heaven or anything like that, because he's trying to find the journey himself. And I know that he meant it in a good way, but there's people out there that reject the Bible. There's people out there that reject Jesus. They reject any kind of religion. It doesn't matter if it's the Christian, the Protestant religion. They reject all religion, whether it's the Jewish faith, the Islamic faith, the Mormon faith, any type of religion. They reject it all. And by doing this, they actually, by unknown to themselves, they actually start worshiping demonic types of religions. They're more inclined to then think something like Buddhism or Hinduism or uh, Wiccan or things like that are more natural because it feels more earthly, and that's because it is more worldly, and it does um, have more like being one with the earth and being one with the world and things like that. The Bible and the places in the Bible, they're really real locations. And when I was a child, listening to the Bible being read in church services, and then I would go to school, and then in geography and stuff like that, and we would study places like Syria and Jerusalem and stuff like that in school. And I was like, oh wow, these places are really, they're real. It made me think that the Bible was real, but I had always thought that the Bible was a fictional story when I was a child. I had always thought that this was just something like a novel, and it was weird to me that we read the Bible in church and that so many people lived their life by this thing, because I was, young and stupid and wasn't, trying to believe the word of God. And I just thought that, like everyone else that isn't a believer or doesn't see a need for the Bible, I thought that this was just something that people were doing to make themselves feel good, that they needed something to live for, that they needed a purpose. And it's kind of sad that that is the way that people look at faith. I don't need that because I'm good on my own. I got this. I don't need Jesus to die for my sins. I'm okay with my sin. I'm okay with living the way that I live. I like what I do. I like how I live. I like my journey. I'm figuring this out on my own. And I think that a lot of people live that way. But John says that he's been sent to this island on account of the word of God and the testimony of Jesus. So even if you think that you don't need the Bible, or that you're okay without the Bible, or you don't need faith because that's for weak people, that's for those that can't deal with life on their own, that's for people that need something to help them get through life's challenges. John was sent to an island for the word of God and giving the testimony of Jesus Christ. Paul was sent to prison multiple times and died for spreading the word of God and telling the testimony of Jesus. Peter was hung upside down on a cross and died for the word of Jesus. If the Bible wasn't the word of God and wasn't necessary and wasn't worth dying for, these people wouldn't go out and just spread the good news of Jesus and then take persecution and take rejection and take being ridiculed and die for the word of God to be spread. But I'm thankful that these men went and paved the way for us in the beginning of time, or in the beginning of our faith, in the beginning of all this getting spread to the world. So much so that 2,000 years later, we're still serving the same God, the same Jesus. The Spirit breathed these revelations into these men of God, and they put it on paper for us to be able to read and to be able to witness and to be able to see the goodness of God all these years later. How powerful is that? I understand, guys, that sometimes you're going to open the Bible and you're not going to receive very much from it. There may be times where you don't receive anything from it, but there's going to be times where a simple sentence, just as I, John, your brother and partner in the tribulation and the kingdom and the patient endurance that are in Jesus, was on the island called Patmos on account of the word of God and the testimony of Jesus. That's not like this revelation sentence. That's not like this very powerful, impactful sentence, but it spoke to me so much and it made me think to then dig further into it. A lot of people only read the Bible and they never do any in-depth study of what that verse means. But for me to get out of the Bible and go look to see if Patmos still exists, and then to discover imagery that I can look at and see John's cave, it's so awesome. And then not only that, but they have this gigantic monastery there, St. John's Monastery. If you have time, guys, I ask you to just do a quick Google search. Patmos, the cave, John's cave, the Patmos, the cave of the apocalypse is what it's called. Cave of St. John in Patmos, Greece. And just all this beautiful imagery pops up. It's not fake. It's like, not, when I say imagery, I just mean it's photos and videos of it. And just tell me that God isn't awesome. Tell me that the word of God isn't true. Tell me that the word of God is some man-made myth, some man-made legend just to make people feel better. Yeah, it makes people feel better, but that's because Jesus breathed it. Jesus, the Spirit of God, wrote the Bible through man. That's why it makes us feel better. So I know this is kind of a weird video, guys. I'm sorry, but I just think it's so amazing that the Bible is a historical document that is also, it's true, but it makes us feel great because it's supposed to do that. It also convicts us of our sin, but man, if it doesn't make us feel great. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this one. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, God bless.